Bring chairs up. Wait a second till we get chairs situated.
Oh, that's right, I'll stand in the meeting.
Okay, it's just after 5 and looks like everybody's situated, so we'll call this meeting of the Mesilla Valley MPO Bicycle and Pedestrian Facilities Advisory Committee meeting to order. If we can have a roll call to establish quorum and who's present.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bencomo,
Here.
Ms. Morales-Romero,
Present.
Mr. Guerrero.
Here.
Ms. Costa,
Here.
Mr. Wilcox,
Here.
Ms. Curry,
Present.
Mr. Casillas,
Present.
Mr. Chair.
Present.
We have quorum, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Next order of business is approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not, Mr. Chair.
I'll hear a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Ashley Curry, so moved.
I second that motion.
Jim Wilcox. We have a motion and a second to accept the agenda. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We have next approval of the minutes. I had a couple of comments on the minutes in the, at the very beginning, the members present. For Andrew Bencomo, it shows him as absent correctly, but then it says arrived at 5:05 PM, so that part needs to be struck. And it had Mr. Guerrero listed as absent, but he was in fact present for the meeting, as reflected by the roll call. Any other changes to the minutes? I'll hear a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Andrew Bencomo, so moved. Albert Casillas, second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as amended. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the minutes are approved. We have public comment now. Anyone from the public wish to make a comment at this point? Seeing none, we move on to action items. We have a tip amendment.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Dominic Boyle for MPO staff. So we do have a couple of tip amendments. There are 3 on the slides, and then we will have a 4th that NMDOT sent down this morning. So the 3 that we have today are for Roadrunner Transit. They are all rollover. So it's funding between the 2 different tips. So we have TL00140 for federal fiscal year 2024. This is for Roadrunner Transit, as I said. It's funds for rolling stock. And, I have to correct that. It is funds for rolling stock and is rollover the bus facility grant for a total of $450,000, $246,000, and a low now grant for $5,750,073. And that's just because FTA did not get around to approving the grants. So they are going to roll them over to this year, and the project will not have any effect on performance measures. We have TL00100, also for 2024. Again, Roadrunner Transit, it's for operating assistance. They're rolling over the local match for a total of $2,802,508, and the FTA 5307 operating funds for a total of $5,856,745. Again, this project will not affect the performance measures. And then we have TL0110. It's rolling over the funds for the revenue rolling stock. So the local match total will be $36,000, FTA 5307 Small Urban Capital Funds will be $388,450, and this will not have an effect on the performance measures. We also have LC 00440. And this will be to remove it from the 2024 TIP. They used closeout funding to complete that at the end of last year, or at the end of the last fiscal year. So that will no longer be on the TIP.
So can you describe that project?
That is the resurfacing of Highway 70.
Okay.
So they have the funding and they were able to just close it out last year. And then MPO staff is requesting that BPAC recommend this to the policy board, and I will now stand for any comments or questions.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll hear a motion to recommend approval to the policy board.
Chair, Albert Casillas here for the record. I recommend approval of action item 5.1, amendments to the 2024-2029 TIP program.
Andrew Bencomo, second.
We have a motion and a second to recommend approval to the policy board. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item has passed. We're on to UPWP amendments.
And that will be Mr. Andrew Ray presenting, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the BPAC. My name is Andrew Ray for the record. I in control of the, I am. Actually, we do not, oh, there we are. I apologize, Mr. Chair. I am not sure if I am in control of PowerPoint or not. There we go. Okay. Very good. My apologies. I'm here this evening to present on the annual amendment to the MPO's Unified Planning Work Program. It is a 2-year document that outlines the task list and the annual budget for MPO staff. We are currently now in federal fiscal year 2024 as of October 1st of this year. The current year UPWP, we're now in the second year of that UPWP. The UPWP is the 2023 to 2024 UPWP. It went into effect on October 1st of 2022, and this UPWP was adopted by the policy board on June 8th of 2022. As I said, this is something of an annual ritual for the MPO. While the UPWP is a 2-year document, we receive our grants from the federal government on an annual basis, and so there's always some adjustment that has to take place once we receive the notices to proceed from the federal government. This year, I'm not going to read through all of the numbers specifically. There's just a couple of things here that I want to highlight. Overall, the MPO is receiving $32,160 more in Section 112 planning funds from FHWA and $2,111 more in FTA Section 5303 transit planning monies as opposed to, or as compared to federal fiscal year 2023. Also of note is the Section 112 complete street carve-out, as it's so called. Last federal fiscal year 2023, it was a new mandate from the federal government that was required a match from the local entities. This year, and at least for an undetermined period, possibly indefinitely, that money is going to be completely reimbursable by the federal government. So the City of Las Cruces' fiscal agent will be able to receive 100% reimbursement for those costs. We last year used those costs for salaries, and as far as I know, the state liked that approach. Last year when the mandate was handed down, there was a lot of confusion as to how exactly to track that, so we just did it via salary, and the state liked that, so we're going to continue to do that again this year. Overall, we're receiving $34,271 more in funding this year. The other major change, and this is a very large change for this MPO, is historically we never did rollover funds. we will be doing rollover funds from federal fiscal year 2023 to 2024. I will pause here to just explain some of the technicalities of that. Because it is a 2-year UPWP, we are able to roll money from the first year of the UPWP into the second year of the UPWP, so from an odd year into an even. However, the UPWP, those books close definitively at the conclusion of that second year, so we will never be able to roll money from the even year into the odd. So since the MPO doesn't really have a bank account per se, what I intend to do going forward is we'll save money for capital investments and things of that nature, like new vehicle, new traffic count equipment, things like that that have a really high dollar value. We'll save the money for that in the odd year and then make those expenditures in the even year so as to, in a way, kind of create a bank for the MPO. However, and this is the first time that we're doing this, we never did it historically because the MPO always had a difficulty expending all of our funding, so it was just creating more of an accounting nightmare just to make more money that would not be expended if we tried to keep track of it. However, with the impending transition for the MPO, we will now have an objective need and use for those dollars. However, since this is the first time we're doing this, we're already running into some hiccups. And unfortunately, even though I am asking for a vote on this item from the BPAC tonight, I don't have the specific dollar amount of the rollover available for the BPAC this evening. I had hoped that I was going to have that. City Finance had indicated that they would have that for me, and unfortunately, I don't have that. So I am asking you to just approve the rollover in principle. However, I will say that the BPAC has made multiple recommendations of approval for the UPWP dollar amounts that are already currently in the UPWP. So in a way, the dollar amounts have already been approved. I just don't know specifically as I stand here today what the dollar amount rollover is going to be. And I apologize for that. That was not my intention to not have that information, but that's where we stand. So I will stand now for any questions.
So you will have to have that dollar amount by the time the board
I
sees it.
absolutely will, but the good news is the city has to have that information to me by next Wednesday, because that is when the quarterly reports are due to the state of New Mexico. So I will have it next week. I have to. But as it stands right now, the city just did not get me the information in time for tonight.
Okay. The other question that I had before the meeting was how the complete street money was going to be spent, but I think you answered that.
Salaries, Mr. Chair.
Right. Any other members have questions? Seeing none, I'll hear a motion to recommend approval to the policy board.
Ashley Curry, so moved.
Sulena Costa, second.
I have a motion and a second to recommend approval to the policy board. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose. For the record, Jim Wilcox.
And the item is passed. On to discussion items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would at this time like to introduce Ms. Katarina Provingi.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This is going to be the discussion item, safety performance targets. Before I get into the presentation, this year there was a change in the methodology of how NMDOT sets their safety targets, and I will go over that in the presentation. So 23 CFR 490 requires MPOs to set performance measures for safety. We adopted the performance targets for the safety performance measures for this year, 2023. That was the last time we went through this. The safety performance measures are required to be adopted annually. The safety performance measures requires that targets be adopted in these 5 areas. That is the number of fatalities, the number of serious injuries, the rate of fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, or VMT, rate of serious injuries per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, and the number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. NMDOT has released the proposed targets for 2024. That's what this presentation is going to be on. So the changes in the methodology for this that just started this year, so the Federal Highway Administration states that performance targets are required to be identical between the Highway Safety Plan, that's HSP, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and HSIP, which is the Highway Safety Improvement Program. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IJA, requires the HSP to cover 3 years. However, new rules mandate that NHTSA targets hold steady or show improvement in a 3-year period. Improvement meaning a decrease in numbers. A waiver was issued by USDOT for 2024, allowing targets to not be identical between the two programs. So in response, NMDOT has taken this opportunity to use this waiver and decided to reevaluate how the targets are set. Usually what we've done in the past, 5-year moving average, so 5-year moving averages are what we use for our safety targets for that assigned year. So this one is going to be for 2024 for next year. The 5-year moving averages are limited to, they're 5-year moving averages. So whatever the crash trends are showing, the 5-year moving average is limited to follow that crash trend. If numbers go up, the 5-year moving average will go up. If it goes down, the average will go down. But in the past several years, these numbers have been increasing, and NMDOT finds that unacceptable. NMDOT's HSIP and HSP will both hold steady or show declining numbers, which accurately demonstrates NMDOT's commitment to improving our safety outcomes. So either either targets will be set for declining or hold steady if it's showing an improved trend. So the number of state fatalities, this is what we were given. So the blue number you see on the chart, that is the 5-year moving average target for 2024. We still have the 5-year moving average, but the blue number is going to be our set target. So if you notice, it is a little lower than what our projected 5-year moving average is for 2024. So far, preliminary reported number of fatalities does show a decrease from 483 to 467 fatalities throughout the state. That's a 3.3% difference, or decrease, excuse me. And then the 2024 target for total fatalities it's 4.3% lower than what is projected in the 5-year moving average. So 450 fatalities is the target that we hope to be under. We aim to be under that for the entire state in fatalities. These are the number of serious injuries. Again, we have our 5-year moving average along with our target, and it is the same as the 5-year moving average because if you look at the 5-year moving average, it is showing a decreasing trend. So the safety target NMDOT has decided on will remain the same as 1,018.6 serious injuries throughout the state. Preliminary reported number of serious injuries does show an increase from 2021 to 2022 of 3.4%. And like I stated previously, the number is matching the 5-year moving average because it's showing an improving or steady trend. State fatalities per 100 million VMT. The preliminary reported number of fatalities. So we do see in fatalities, so because in the first slide, there was a decrease in fatalities, so the rate is also decreasing. There was a decrease of 3.7% in the fatality rate in the state from 2021 to 2022. The 2024 target is 5.5% lower than the projected 5-year moving average. So this is the number we hope to stay below, which is 1.689. Serious injuries per 100 million VMT in the state. So preliminary reported numbers from 2021 to 2022 shows a 3% increase. And then the target, it's a little hard to see. So the target is a little lower than the projected 5-year moving average, 3.871. Our target for the NMDOT's target for next year is 3.8. That's a 1.8%. That's 1.8% lower than the 5-year projected moving average. For non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries, preliminary reports, reported number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries does show a decrease from 2021 to 2022 by 1.4%. And the 2024 target for serious injuries per 100 million VMT, the target is approximately 6% lower than the projected 5-year moving average. So the purpose of the performance standards of the state of New Mexico in accordance with federal regulations is to monitor crashes of motorized vehicles, bicycles, and pedestrians, paying close attention to fatalities and serious injuries. The safety performance measure mandate by Congress has increased awareness and dialogue about safety issues around the country. The measures have motivated jurisdictions to seek solutions to underlying factors of crashes. The trend lines are indicators of very complex factors that cause crashes. These factors are explored further in the 2021 NMDOT annual report. This report was published earlier this year on April 26th. It's available online. There is a because it is released this year, but there's a 2-year lag before the crash data is released to the public. So the Mesilla Valley MPO Annual Safety Report is a document that we developed from the safety performance measure requirement. We will release the next safety report early next year. That would be January, February. A presentation will be given when our annual safety report is released. And this one will look at our local data, specifically Doña County. The state and Mesilla Valley MPO, we are committed to reduce fatalities and serious injuries. We will bring the safety performance measure to BPAC for action at our November 21st meeting. We anticipate the policy board will act on the safety performance measure at their December 13th meeting. Are there any comments or questions?
So the goals, it's the rolling, the 5-year average is the goal, but it seems like it's lower than what the actual 5-year average is. Can you explain?
So in the past, Mr. Chair, NMDOT, if I go to, let me use a slide, for example. Okay, so in the past, so we have so these are the numbers that the state has. The preliminary is what we have so far, the total numbers. And then it's preliminary because some investigations are still being conducted. Things still need to be finalized before it can be ruled as a death or a serious injury. That's why it's called that's why it's a preliminary number and not finalized. But they do use these numbers and the past numbers to basically perform a linear forecast projection for these numbers. So if you see down here, 2023 and 2024, we don't have those numbers yet. 2023 is not over yet.
So you put out the projected numbers, but you're actually basing the target on the numbers we know? Is that what you're saying?
They're based on so NMDOT, what they do is they So they project the real numbers, and then with these numbers, including the projected one, they use these numbers and create a 5-year moving average. And then these are based on, specifically this one for 2024 does include the projected 219. Now, because the trends are continuing to increase, which is not good, so NMDOT wants to set the number lower. So basically, instead of trying to stay under 212 non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries throughout the state wants to try to stay under 200.
So it's really just wishful thinking that,
Your words, not mine.
because using the numbers, the goal should be like 212, but the goal's 200, which is 5% or so lower than what's anticipated.
Right.
So we're hoping to have fewer than what statistics say will happen.
They're trying to be more strict on and trying to push for basically to just try and push for more safety measures or just more safety projects to be implemented, some kind of way to push for basically the state to kind of lower those numbers.
So one way to look at, we're missing the goals, so we need to improve our measures to improve safety is kind of
Essentially, yes.
the way I could read it. Any other?
Mr. Chair,
But yeah,
Okay, we'll start down there.
Andrew Bencomo for the record. So looking at the the numbers there, and I get what George is saying, and you can just throw a number on there and be like, oh, that's our new goal. But so I'm hoping that NMDOT has put that goal on there. I don't know if you know this or not. I would have to probably get that from NMDOT staff. To put that number there is great, but then what are the actual boots on the ground things that are going to make that goal accessible? That's the question that I would have. And that would be not for you, obviously, for NMDOT. It's great to put a lower goal, but if you just do that as a placeholder and don't do anything else. So what I'd like to know is what plans does the state have to make that a reality? What physical plans does it have, whether it's projects or it's education or it's enforcement or whatever it is? So that's what I'd like to know. I don't know if that's something we can get as the BPAC. Is there some process that we can ask for that information? So that was my question. Also, I found it kind of disturbingly interesting that the serious injuries are going down, but the fatalities are going up. So the reason the serious injuries are going down is because people are just getting killed. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but that's something that needs to.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Bencomo, yes, that was the trend we noticed last year too, when these were presented. And it seems to be following the same trend.
Yeah, so that's another one of those ones where whoever has the knowledge in all of this could perhaps dig deeper into the statistics and say, okay, it seems like more people are just dying instead of being seriously injured and surviving maimed for the rest of their life. But what is causing that? Increased speeding, larger vehicles, combination, bad roadways. That's the kind of information I would like to get, or if somebody has it, that we could try to figure all that out. So.
And Mr. Chair, Mr. Bencomo, we try to cover that in our own annual safety report. Now, this is the entire state of New Mexico.
Right.
That's a lot of data, and we try to, and so at least with ours, we do focus on our own area, so at least we can look at the localized trends, at the local trends,
Right.
and try to pinpoint, different areas or some kind of trend, anything where is there a certain area we need to focus on? Is there a certain, but that's what's in the report. The report is looking at trends, but only on our local level, and that's what we can provide as the MPO.
Correct, yeah, and I realize this is for the whole state, and so but statewide, what applies in the rest of the state can apply here also in some way, shape, or form. And I think the other piece of it too is crash data and crash reports. The way that they're done, there's probably not a lot of information in there as to all of the factors and things, just from what I understand as far as how law enforcement provides those reports and fills them out and does certain things. That hurts being able to dig into information also. So anyway, that's all my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Bencomo, yeah, the data that we use for the safety report is from UNM's GPS or geospatial program, specifically their traffic unit, and the data can be requested online. Now it does give you an Excel. It takes out all of the personal data and everything, but it does give you kind of it's a huge list of all the crash data. But we try to look at that with different factors in mind and also mapping it on GIS and trying to not only look at graphs and trends, but also look at location of different crashes that occur for that year. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think these numbers reflect the national trends also, where serious injuries are going down. I think my interpretation, or what I've heard, is vehicles are getting safer for the passengers, but then the external, especially the non-motorized fatalities, are going up because it's less safe, larger vehicles, higher speeds. It's less safe for people outside of the vehicle. Okay, anybody else on this side?
Mr. Chair, may I add some comments, please? I'm Ashley Curry for the record. So I, for one, am very pleased to see this because it feels for years like everybody's been like, oh, well, it's just going up. What can we do? Let's vote yes. And I think I'm the only person who's ever voted no on this year after year. So I'm actually pleased to see that somebody's finally saying we're not going to accept this anymore. So even though it is, throwing a number at it and saying we're going to have a lower target of deaths and serious injuries in the coming years, I am seeing things that are being done. I sit on the New Mexico, the NMDOT Pedestrian Safety Task Force, which is newly formed in the last year or so. So, Mr. Bencomo, to your message, there are a number of engineers and people from the DOT who meet on a regular basis to address these issues and look at it. So to me, rather than everybody going, well, what can you do? I feel like people are actually talking about it. And so that moves it in the right direction in my mind. I'm still a little concerned that we're 2 years behind in the data. It seems like when a crash happens, it should be just uploaded to a database, and it should be, I know people may be injured and then it ends up becoming a fatality. But, those kinds of things seem adjustable. I don't know if other states have those same kinds of issues. And then just to get, super nitty gritty, I just want to bring up to the BPAC at this point. I was just up in Colorado Springs this last weekend and just saw some of their safety measures that they have. And they have the blinking lights, pedestrian signs. Some of them are pedestrian activated where they're not the rapid flashes, but there's just a sign that has the flashing. And then in it, it says yield to pedestrians in state law. It's state law. And I'm looking very specifically at the multi-use trail where the Outfall Channel Trail crosses Valley Drive. It's a terrible place. I don't know if any of you have ever been a cyclist or a pedestrian in that area. It's a fatality waiting to happen. And so if we're truly interested in reducing the fatalities, I would love the DOT and the county. I think it's a DOT road and the jurisdiction is within the county. It would be really great if we could just, go in there. I know a number of people over the years have put in requests for safety to be improved at that particular multi-use trail crossing. But I'm just going to say it on the record. I think we need to take some action and do something to improve at least that one crossing. So, there are many others, but that's just one that jumps out. And as I'm referencing this, the means that I saw in Colorado Springs, it just seemed like a very low cost, relatively low cost and effective opportunity for the DOT and the county to improve safety at that particular intersection.
Mr. Chair, if I could for just a moment, if the committee would indulge me getting on one of my favorite hobby horses again, but I just wanted to respond to something that Ms. Curry said. No, other states are not dealing with a 2-year delay in getting crash data out. Texas has them out almost immediately. Arizona, I believe, releases them monthly. I don't know what what CDOT, I guess they probably call it up there. I don't know what the status of the reporting is in Colorado, But for two of our neighbors, they're not dealing with this at all. And it is something that I have, as the older, longer-standing members of this committee are aware, is something I've ground my teeth about for years, and seems like I will have to continue to do so.
Yeah, UNM does put
Thank you,
out a
sir.
monthly report that's updated monthly with fatalities, but it's only that one report, and it doesn't filter through to the rest of the reporting that is available to staff. and everybody
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, this is Jim Wilcox. I want to go on record in stating that we do not receive the crash reports from the police when there are fatalities. That makes it impossible for us to learn about what has precipitated that particular fatality. And I think that we could be more effective, and if we were more informed and received those police reports after each fatality.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Wilcox, there are limitations in the MPO's ability and MPO staff's ability to disseminate that data. We do have a relationship with LCPD where we are given access to the state database, but that is under the explicit understanding that MPO staff is not to share that data beyond staff and for our use of our own internal analysis. There are confidentiality laws and things of that nature that inhibit our ability, but it's the requirement of the city of Las Cruces in giving us access to that database. If we violate the terms of that, the city can take our access away. So there's not going to be a distribution of that data from MPO staff to the BPAC. It's not possible for us to do.
I'd like to respond by saying that I have been able to go as a private citizen to get that data, look at the names of the people involved, and I don't know what the barrier is, but it doesn't apply to the public to go in and get the public record. It's a public record, so maybe what happens is somehow it gets disseminated outside of this committee.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Wilcox, that may be that there's a barrier for staff that is not there for the public, but we can't disseminate that information. It's just there are boundaries that we cannot transgress as
I
staff.
suspect staff is seeing the raw tracks data and the public sees a scrubbed police report,
That's very likely to be true, Mr. Chair.
The what report?
the police report.
I think you said some other type of, something about the report.
That it's scrubbed.
Well,
or
the
it's
report
redacted
the
as
report
needed.
that I received was not redacted, had the names of the people who were involved, the victim, the victim at least. It had the victim in there. It did not have the person who might have been driving.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Wilcox, I withdraw wanting to comment at this time, Mr. Chair.
Any other committee members have comments? Okay, so thank you for that presentation, and so this will come to us for recommendation at our next meeting, right?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So we're on to committee and staff comments. City of Las Cruces, do you have anything to report for us?
Yes, Madrid is finishing up. They're just finishing up their striping and signing. That'll be 1 to 2 weeks. The remainder of Madrid is in 60% design, so that one's moving along. University the plan is to get it striped tonight, and that one will also be getting completed.
So that's the utility replacement and the road resurfacing?
Yes.
So that project is essentially done.
Yes, I believe it's been fully paved. I believe it's just waiting to get striped at this point.
Okay, I have some comments on the TAP project, but I guess I'll wait till my section later. Doña County, do you have anything?
Chair, I have no comments.
Town of Mesilla is absent. NMSU, do you have anything?
No, Chair, I don't have any comments.
Las Cruces Public Schools.
No, I don't have any comments either, but I had a question for the county. How's the multi-use trail? I understand that that was getting underway on Elks Drive. Can you give us an update on that?
I know I had an update last meeting. I just don't remember quite what the details were, but they're in the final stages of actually getting that built out. I know it's coming pretty soon. I just don't have the exact date, but I'll go back to my emails real quick and I can verify for something for you.
Thank you so much.
NMDOT.
Last meeting, it was brought up on the interchange on I-10 and I-25, so just to give everybody a quick update, the contractor continues to do work on the concrete deck. They're performing hydro demo work at this time. So we're expecting things to be completed mid-November to late November. Shortly after that, we hope to open that up to traffic, but please stand by for any updates next
Okay.
month.
So the University Multimodal Project, I've heard got moved around a couple of times, so it's going to bid in January, am I correct on that?
I'm not too sure, Mr. Chair.
You're off the mic, I think.
I can look into that, Mr. Chair, and get you some
Okay.
updates on that.
Yeah, I think the district engineer mentioned, because I think it had been pushed back to June and now it's pushed back up to like January. Okay, thank you. MPO staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Andrew Ray for MPO staff. Two MPO things that I want to mention to the committee tonight. MPO staff is still unfortunately short-staffed. We're still down a person. However, I can report that we have concluded interviews for the Associate Transportation Planner position, and I certainly have every hope that we'll be able to introduce that new staff member to you at the November BPAC meeting. So hopefully we won't be short-staffed very much longer. On the topic of the MPO transition, the City of Las Cruces is currently doing a cost allocation study for the MPO to determine the size of the fiscal agent fee. I've been informed by the city to expect that study to be completed in November. So hopefully around the first of next year, we'll be able to start taking concrete steps of the administrative and physical, I almost said fiscal, physical separation from the city of Las Cruces. But that's still tentative. I was thinking that a year ago right now. So, but that is where we are on that. Progress is ongoing on that topic. Lastly, I actually want to do a little bit of an NMDOT update, but a number of you who've been with us for a while will remember Miss Valerie Sherman when she was here as an MPO employee. She is now back with us as the Southern Region Liaison for NMDOT, taking over that position 2 years after the fact from Miss Debbie Hudson's departure, from Jolene Herrera's departure. So we're very glad to have Miss Sherman back with us and looking forward to a hopefully long period of stability of being able to work with her in that role.
Okay. So your traffic count interns,
We lost both of our traffic count interns at the start of the school year this year, so we actually don't have any interns right now. We're actually having a little bit, actually no, we lost them at the start of the summer. I misspoke. We lost them at the start of the summer. And we've been having a little bit of difficulty in getting replacements on board, but we have one that we're trying to get a start date for, and we have the job out on the street right now, and I don't remember when it closes, but it will be closing very soon. So hopefully we'll have traffic count staff again very
so
soon.
you're not doing any traffic counts right now?
We are doing some. Dominic and Kat are getting into the grubby clothes and going out and playing in traffic periodically, but it is, obviously, they've got a lot of things in the office they have to be doing too, so we are limited. And I mean, at this point, it's October. We're not going to hit 100% on the traffic count list this year. It's kind of a physical impossibility at this point, but we are doing what we can.
Okay. Thank you. So we're on the committee member updates. I had a couple of comments. I went on the Walnut, the TAP project along Walnut and then down Madrid. I noticed that there are a number of share the road signs on there, which really serve as wayfinding signs. But as you're heading north on Walnut to Spruce, the bike lane drops, and then you go into 2 traffic lanes, but they still have just a share the road sign there. It seems like a bicycle may use full lane would be more appropriate there. Drivers pretty much don't know what share the road means. A lot of them think that that means that bicycles should be sharing the road and leaving the road for the traffic. So I wonder if, because I don't remember if there was like a 90% meeting on design on that one. I remember there was like a 30% meeting.
Mr. Chair, as I stand here right now, that was too many years ago. I don't remember, unfortunately.
This is one of those projects that I think it started pre-pandemic even.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Chair. Yes.
So I wonder if that can be looked at. I think it's a
Mr.
city-run
Chair?
project.
Yes, so that one's part of the Madrid project, so it hasn't been completely closed out. I did briefly talk to our traffic department earlier. They did mention that they could look at that and see if it'd be feasible to change that out to the full lane for the bikes.
And the other comment on that project is something that I had raised during the public meeting. Down towards the intersection of Madrid and Solano, looks like bike lanes are being, for the most part, up to Solano, but Solano itself has no bike facilities. So we're directing bicycles to go to a place where it's not safe for bicycles. So that's, I guess that's just my comment on that you can pass to the engineers and the design team is to, that might be a problem, might be a liability problem in the future perhaps, I don't know. That's up to the lawyers, I guess. The other question that I had in general was for the city again, the Melendrez traffic calming project.
Yes, I did talk to traffic about that one too earlier today. They did say that they did get some speed counts, I believe. And they said that you could contact them directly to get that information from the Public Works Traffic Department.
Okay, are they going to be doing a report of any kind, or do you know what the conclusion of that is?
I'm not sure. I didn't have too much time to talk to them about it.
Okay.
They are continuing to get data just because sometimes people get complacent and then they just,
Right.
so I'm not sure at what point they are right now. I didn't get too much
Okay, yeah,
information, but
that's,
you can get that from them.
okay, thank you. Any other committee members?
Mr. Chair, I do. This is Ashley Curry. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows about the bike packing summit that's going to be coming up on Friday, 8:30 to 11 at Outdoor Adventures. It's a bunch of people who are going to be talking about retail opportunities and things available in relation to biking and local vendors and statewide vendors and such. And then from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Klein Park, there's the bike packing summit. So it's all kinds of things to do with biking and bike packing. And that is the kickoff event for this weekend's ride, which is attracting hundreds of people from out of town. That is the Danger Bird. It is the ride that goes around the Monumental Loop. And in relation to the Danger Bird is also the Safety Bird, which is the smaller version, a bikepacking opportunity that's 38 miles in our community. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Jim Wilcox, I wanted to announce that there's a couple of organizations concerned about bicycle and pedestrian safety that are working to develop, to adopt or work with a organization called Vision Zero. They are gathering coalitions, building coalitions to pursue this, and it would be good, I think, for this committee to actually be involved in that, at least find out how that is progressing as it does progress.
Okay. Andrew? Anyone else? Okay, so we're on to public comment. Open for public comment, going once, twice, closed. Ready for adjournment. Hear a motion to adjourn?
Ashley Curry, so moved.
Albert Casilla, second.
Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you. See you in November.